Welcome to the Good News Bay podcast, where we are making Bay County brighter one conversation at a time. I am so excited about our podcast today. We have a very special guest in Jennifer Conoley. Jennifer was very gracious to spend some time with us, but I hope that if you don't know her story, you'll get to hear it. And if you're not familiar with what she does, you'll see the value of it. And in the process, here's some great news about Bay County. Jennifer, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Awesome. Listen, you are with Florida's Great Northwest, or did I say that right?
You did. Florida's Great Northwest.
Yeah, and so you are the president and CEO.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few people that are like, I know exactly who that is and what they do, and there are others that have heard of it but aren't exactly sure. We're gonna take some time to explain that today. But I wanted to start on a personal note. You're from Port St. Joe originally.
I am.
Which means, I hope it means you like the waves and the water.
Oh, absolutely.
And so in the process, you went to Bay High School, or not, I said Bay High School, I messed that up.
You did.
Port St. Joe.
That's right.
The
Go
Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, purple and yellow, right?
That's right.
And so, boy, I'm starting off on fire here. So you also have a background in public relations for Florida State.
I do.
And so when I've been looking through a lot of your background, public relationships and marketing and those kind of things have kind of been background. Your dad worked at the paper mill.
He did.
Which is going to hit a lot of notes with a lot of people because that's near and dear to a lot of folks' hearts here and it's part of the history of others as well. You worked, I first met you when you were at, I believe, Gulf Power, right?
Yep, that's right.
And one of the things I learned about Gulf Power at the time is they were very generous with the community and cared deeply about families and schools.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say served with you, but you really were kind of in charge of the operating board, co-chair of the operating board. And I was just a guy trying to figure out how to help schools. And so hurricane happened somewhere along the way. You continued to progress. And then you took a role, had the opportunity to take this role for Florida's Great Northwest. So before we move into the other, you have two children.
I do.
Braxton and Chase.
Yes.
And Chase is what? 7?
Chase is 7.
Okay.
Braxton is 10.
Now, I know I've seen evidence of Braxton catching a redfish, so I know he fishes, and I know he killed his first deer this year.
He did, yes.
Is Chase an outdoorsy one yet?
Yes, he enjoys fishing, and he's getting into hunting too, but right now he's planning his football career to start with the Florida State Seminoles and then maybe Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know now that Tom Brady has maybe retiring. But yes, so he is planning his career as a wide receiver at the tender age of 7.
Well, it's that NFL Super Bowl time of year, and so every kid and dad hopefully will be out back throwing a football somewhere.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, listen, whenever you're not working, which is not very often because you work, I would imagine, work really hard. Tell us a little bit about what your organization is and what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. So Florida's Great Northwest, we're the regional economic development organization for the Panhandle. And so when we say the Panhandle, we're talking Pensacola to Apalachicola up to the state line. And when we say economic development, what our main focus is to try to attract companies with creating of jobs or bringing investment. We want them to consider Northwest Florida as an option for any growth or expansion opportunities. So we're all about working together as a region collaboratively through promoting us as a business destination and working across county lines so that we're a bigger and stronger region, bringing more opportunity for everybody that lives here.
So one of my goals is to kind of connect the dots because I have heard more and I guess it's a compliment to the role that what you're doing. I had not heard much of Florida's Great Northwest until your role with it and have realized that you work pretty closely. Like there's a team of folks oftentimes when things are within the region. In fact, it's a compliment because all of the leaders of the municipalities, Rebecca Harden, school board officials, whoever it is that needs to be in the mix and in the circle, there's almost like a sense and feeling that, hey, there's a team of folks working together to try to draw us in. And so from what you've described, you would work alongside, if it's a Bay County thing, for instance, you'd work alongside Becca Hardin. But then you may also work in a broader area than that, because your area, so we know that Becca's with the Economic Development Alliance. The word regional goes beyond that, right? So we're talking Pensacola to Tallahassee, north to the state line. Yeah. So, and I don't know that I had it quite that way. I kind of thought that maybe, I don't know, I just didn't see it that widely, which is cool. So you're representing some of the small communities around us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are over 3,000 communities out there in the United States trying to find companies with growth opportunities and get them to locate in their respective area. So what we're doing is, from a marketing perspective, is to make us look like that big fish, that big attractive red fish, for companies to think about when they are looking and thinking about where would be a great place with all the assets that I need. Maybe it's logistics, and maybe it's port connectivity, maybe it's airport connectivity, right, roads, employees, skilled talent. Where is that next place where I can be successful? And we want to raise the flag and say, Northwest Florida is that place. Come give us a chance, and you've got 12 counties of opportunity. And what I do as Florida's Great Northwest is be that professional matchmaker, where, say, we've got the opportunity, we get to showcase the assets in all of the counties and help them make an educated decision of where they would be best fit.
So in order to do that, you have to know an awful lot about what are the assets that we have as a community. Whether that's an airport and what the amenities are there, or the port, as it gets larger, that's stuff that you are able to use. I would imagine Florida, just in general. I mean, I'm kind of an advocate. I just love Florida. I love Bay County, but I love Florida in general. And it seems like there's some advantages right now, or especially immediately post-pandemic, but just in general. Like, if you're going to work remote, you can work in a lot of different places. And so people are moving to Florida to work. Is that helpful for you? I mean, do the beaches sell themselves a little bit?
The beaches sell themselves. Our tagline that we came up with about a year or so ago is "Go beyond our beaches," because we are more than beautiful sugar white sand and emerald green waters.
Right.
There's a lot more to us. And so, yes, but, our governor has done an incredible job of saying this state is open for business and open for you to come and be free. And that's very attractive to people that are living in, let's say, more restrictive states, like perhaps if it's California or maybe Northeast United States. And so that is definitely appealing when people come here. But really, when you think about Florida, it is such a huge state. We are 5 states in one, I like to say. And the Panhandle is a state in and of itself. And that's why I love what I do. I'm passionate about it because we have our own culture, our own Southern hospitality that we're rooted in. And, you can put Northwest Florida up against a Miami, and I mean, we may lose to Miami for one reason or another, but good companies that we want to be here and to stay here and grow with us, we attract them because of the people that are here.
Absolutely. I know that in a recent podcast that I did with Colonel Watkins at the base, we talked about families that would, because they sometimes they get options of where they want orders to go to next. And I mean, call me selfish, I want airmen to want to come to Bay County. And so as I was talking to him, and I think this is you and I were talking about, like you mentioned, that maybe the conversations that we have at the dinner table with our kids, right? There's aspects of this, and I want to talk about a little bit about good paying jobs, because that's a piece of this. Yeah. But one of the things that I think is an asset that you would want to use is you talk to companies, because they're not going to come here if they don't feel like that their families and their employees and their families are going to have you talk about the place, right? And so the same is true with military. Like when militaries, when their officers are thinking about wanting to come, and those that have an option to be here, they want to be at a place where there's something for their kids, where there's athletics, where there's fine arts, where the education's good. And it's a place where the people are nice. You said, even off the camera, the people here are nice. Is that true?
That's true.
Yeah, and not only it's true that you said it, it's true, the people here are nice.
That's right.
And that's one of the selling factors, right?
Absolutely.
I think that it's one of the pieces when we talk about the good news is that in a world where there's a lot of places that I think you find that people kind of don't like to interact with one another, or maybe don't have that Southern hospitality. I'm not sure what part of it is that it's Southern or that there's kind of a small town feel in some ways. I mean, it's a classy place, but the people here are nice, and there's a lot of reasons to want to bring your family here, and it seems like that's gotten better with time. Has it gotten easier to sell us from that perspective?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. I mean, and part of my selling point in my story is, as you said, I grew up in Port St. Joe. My husband and I have been in Bay County and Panama City for 16 years. Came here after we graduated in Tallahassee, and so we choose to be here. I mean, I think everybody has a choice for the most part. You choose to be here, and we're here because of the people.
So safety is one of those things which I think matters. And we have a governor that's very supportive of law enforcement. We live in a community where that's supportive. In one of our previous podcasts, I think even we talked about a survey where safety was the number one reason people would move here.
Right.
And so, like, literally when we go away and talk about our community, it is a safe place. And so that helps. What about the family side of it? I mean, is there, when you begin to look at opportunities with some of the developments at the beach and the sports complex, has that helped things a little bit?
Yeah. So one of the elements we look at, when we're telling our story, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of, when companies are looking here, they're thinking time, risk, money. And so sometimes, depends on who the decision maker is in the process, but sometimes quality of life, quality of place it's a lower factor, but it's absolutely a factor. I mean, they want to know that their employees are going to have a vibrant place to live, and they're going to be happy, and they're going to be able to afford the place that they live and have amenities, especially if it is the decision is a corporate executive that will move his or her family with them to the location, then we're being scrutinized even more closely. Absolutely, yes. So I've been part of site visits where we look at the school systems first, and we're looking at what's our healthcare system like. All of those things take part in the decisions that company executives are making when they're choosing their next location to expand or grow.
It's awesome. There is a kind of an example that I wanted to give in Central Maloney, which is a big win. And we've kind of talked a little bit about background. I probably should just go ahead and transition, but I'm actually not going to, because there's a really cool piece of this that I don't want to miss.
Okay.
That the whole idea of artificial intelligence is the big buzz right now. And if it's not a big buzz in your world, I know I've got some folks that do, some of my most faithful listeners are some of my sweet old ladies at the church that they're going to watch me on their big screen. It's really cool. So they may not have heard of artificial intelligence, but let me tell you, it's coming, and it's getting used in all these different facets. We've talked some on our team about how they're using it in social media some now. You mentioned something, and I think you used the term, you've got a business intelligence manager, and this is a part of the process to help. You talk about matchmaking. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so through Florida's Great Northwest, we subscribe to a platform that's based on artificial intelligence. And so we have created our own proprietary proactive lead generation program. So essentially, we are taking that AI tool to help us identify companies that have growth potential. And then we use our process to identify the right people, put the right messages in front of those people to hopefully connect with them, build relationships and rapport, and try to get them to start speaking with us about the opportunities for business here.
That sounds like innovation, entrepreneurship, leaning into the future. I mean, the first two of those, innovation and entrepreneurship, are both pieces, I think, of the strategy that you guys are about as an organization. But I think it's really neat as an outside person looking in to see that you guys are using all the tools available to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us now. Let's give an example. This is what good teachers. I'm not necessarily a good teacher, but that's what we're supposed to do is give you an example.
Right.
Central Maloney.
Yes.
Who are they? Why does that matter? And how did they get here?
Absolutely. So, as part of our proactive lead generation program, my business intelligence manager identified this company, Central Maloney, based in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, as a company with major growth potential. And so, through part of his process, he was able to get some targeted marketing messages in the hands of the CEO, Chris Hart. And these types of people, I mean, your message has to be data driven and spot on because they get hundreds of people. Remember, I said 3,200 communities out there. And so you can imagine the amount of messages that come at these people. And so for whatever reason, ours pushed through the fold, and Chris decided to respond to Shane's email. And it was really pushing back about, I don't think Florida will work because of transportation costs. So he challenged us. And so we took that back and put together a data-driven response and said, well, no, based on the data, this is how you actually can save money and take away some risk if you were to expand here. And that allowed us the open door to do a Zoom with him. And the Zoom is really where we got comfortable with one another because they're from Arkansas. Becca Harden always says, they're our breed of dog. And that's true. Right. Chris and I connected immediately.
It's a classy breed, though.
It is a classy breed, of course. But we connected immediately, having fathers that both worked in a paper mill.
Okay.
And so we hit it off and said, okay, we're going to put together a proposal from Northwest Florida based on what we heard your needs are for expansion. And when we say that, we're talking about what kind of building are you looking for? What type of employees do you need? What skill sets do they need to have? Are there any other factors that are needed? And that could be access to an airport. Sometimes it could be transportation related, maybe rail. But in this case, we took all of that, sent it out to our 12 counties, got responses back. And this was around I would say, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. By March of 2021, we had Chris and his executive leadership team in Northwest Florida on the properties, touring, meeting the people. Mm-hmm. They started west in Pensacola and worked their way to Bay County. And, we told our story, and that's what we allow our communities to do. Like, talk to them about the assets here and why this company would be a good fit in your community. And, we had some fun with them too. My husband likes to say that he helped to seal the deal because we had some downtime. And I said, all right, guys, what do you want to do? And I gave them a couple of options, and they said, boat ride. So my husband captained our boat and took them out on South Shell Island, took them to lunch at Uncle Ernie's, and just showed them what...
Is this where we say thank you, Kevin?
Yes, you should.
He
will appreciate that. But that's really where we sell our lifestyle too. Yep. So know that you can... get work done here, but also play and have fun here as well.
So one of the things that I think is important for people to know, we have a number of our listeners and those that would watch, they want their children to have options when they grow up. Mm-hmm. Like, if in a perfect world, you want your kids to be able to live close and not have to travel somewhere else to find a job that allows them to live at a good standard of living. We also talked about outside of Bay County, many of the smaller towns and how hard it's tough enough in Panama City, Bay County area to find high enough paying jobs that are beyond, like, law enforcement's incredible, but you better have 2-income home, right? If that, and same with teaching, right?
Absolutely.
And so if those aren't your options, what in the world are you going to do? And so, and in the smaller towns, we have a lot of, in this rural area that we live in, which consists of much of the area that you represent, it's where a lot of the state's prisons are at. Mm-hmm. And so families want options. Now, we struggle sometimes as a community because we love how it is here and we love our access to the water. We don't necessarily want to share that to somebody with an accent that doesn't sound like ours. But we have to pick at some point, because if if we're going to have those jobs, and this is where I think it's important at the dinner table, like you said, we have to be welcoming to these folks that are wanting to come to this area and actually bring resources and opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing that happen, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's all about the diversification of our economy. We thrive on tourism. We also thrive on military. So it is exposing us past that.
Well, and you've used the term diversity a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, off camera for sure, but it's a part of y'all's vision,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an important part of it. And I think when we look at our community, you know, I am really, really proud of Bay County itself, but the whole area is a resilient space. And we are more diverse because we have Tyndall Air Force Base, and we're grateful that it's going to be the air base of the future. And I'm sure that within, and I don't know the name of the air base in Pensacola, but I know there are some. I know that Eglin and
6
Hurlburt,
military installations
there's a
across
bunch,
Northwest Florida.
right?
6.
And there's a lot of beaches to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have, and we all felt the oil spill, if we
Yep.
look back a little bit, and we all get nervous every time there's a change of president,
Yep.
every time there's talk about military base closures.
That's right.
And this that we're describing brings high paying jobs and other options that I guess in the financial sector, you'd say it diversifies the portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, we feel like, and I don't know if you'd agree, but many talk about the fact that even though the country may be going through kind of on the verge of a recession,
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the reasons that helps us in those kind of times is what you guys do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, and this is what I didn't realize until I came into economic development. There's competition again all over for these competitive projects. These
Yep.
companies looking for somewhere, and if we're not out there advocating for our area, then we're automatically losing.
Well, and if we have people that can showcase who we are, I mean, we do live in a business-friendly state. We do live in the part of the state that actually has land that's affordable.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, there's more of it. I mean, so much of the rest of the state, I didn't know, we have to talk later about the 5 different parts of the state. But South Florida, I mean, those big cities are grown up.
Yeah.
And there's so much to be desired about the area that we live in. And so, yes, we've been made known. When you look at what's available now, a couple of years ago, we looked at, this is good news. Like we look at the hurricane and we're like, there's no way we have a future. Well, now we look at it and say, you know, we're going to have state of the art parks compared to, you know, they're not going to be 20 years old because they got blown away. So they're brand new. You know, our boat ramps are refreshed. The green spaces are coming. You're hearing all the time about the new pickleball courts that are coming in. And I mean, all of these things are things that you want for your kids. Is it a bad thing? I need to take a breath, but is it a bad thing that we have $500 million in school repairs? No, because what it means is those schools are going to have, like Jinx Middle School has almost a brand new cafeteria and gym that they would not have had we not been through the storm. And so it keeps going on.
Yeah.
Let me pause for a minute. I get asked a lot about infrastructure.
Okay.
So with all the people that are moving into Margaritaville and the new businesses and all that kind of stuff, the infrastructure is just a part of the process, right?
Yeah, it absolutely
The
is.
schools,
I mean,
the roads.
Yeah, it takes a huge team to do what we do and to build an economy and grow the way, you know, smart growth is what I like to say. But yeah, there's a lot of, you know, that's why we have to have visionary leaders in the positions that they are in so that we're planning for continued growth. We're already thinking about where our next industrial parks are and why we need certain industrial or infrastructure assets. Same thing with where our next neighborhoods will be. And then the connectivity to the rural communities around us and how they can benefit us all. So it all works together. It's a system that does all work together as long as we play our pieces right.
Well, I don't know why I still call it the new airport, but we know it moved and it's got lots of space.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And so the brand new company here, Central Maloney.
Yes.
I looked them up. Aren't they located near that airport?
Yes, so they're in located in Venture Crossings Enterprise Center, which is adjacent to Northwest Florida Beaches International Airport. So
Okay.
it's St. Joe Company's owned industrial park, and they're at an existing beautiful state-of-the-art manufacturing facility out there, about 130,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yep.
The ready-made building
Yes.
with Central Maloney was a piece of the puzzle that made it so inviting.
Absolutely.
What I think is important with the story in business and entrepreneurship, there's ups and downs. You talk about a boat with all these hooks that you're trying to get some fish to bite, the beautiful redfish, right? And some will, and sometimes you get one on and they get off, right? And so we had a GKN they were coming, but then they didn't, and we got a building, and it's like, oh man, this is a downer. But the fact of the matter is, it's part of the journey.
That's right.
And so one of the things that I loved about Central Maloney, and I guess this is I've never met Chris Hart, who's is he the president of the company?
Yeah.
Well, he apparently is a people person.
Yep.
And they're a family they operate like a family.
They do.
And I did see an interview with him, and he seems like a very personable, what did Becca Hart call
our breed of dog.
Yeah. And so these folks coming to Bay County, a lot of them are good people.
That's right.
And coming to our area. Let's give another example. We talked about another company that is coming to the Bonifay Middle School building.
Yes.
Talk about that, because now we're talking about the regional aspect.
That's right.
You guys, when you look at a group coming, you look specifically at what they're looking for. Is it better? I think you even said, hey, it fit better closer to I-10. Tell a little bit about that story and the name of them.
Yeah, so the company's name is Probes Unlimited.
Uh-huh.
So if you have a big green egg at your house, they make the temperature probe that fits along with that. Now, they're custom manufacturer of temperature sensing devices, so that's just one of their customers. They also have a lot of equipment in Burger King, In-N-Out Burger, etc. But they're a cool manufacturer. There are 50 people in Pennsylvania, and they were having issues through COVID. They couldn't get people to come to work.
Okay.
And through our proactive lead generation process with our artificial intelligence platform, we got in front of this company, the CEO, Ernie Delaney, and told him our story. And he said, all right, I'll come and check it out. And so we did the same process. We showed him a few communities, this time along the I-10 corridor, and he just saw the vision at the former Bonifay Middle School building that the Holmes County Development Commission had purchased. Okay. And wanted to transform it into something more. They were hoping for an advanced manufacturing center, but we helped make that happen because the company was able to locate in the fifth grade wing. They opened their doors July of 2021.
Wow.
They had 18 jobs to start. 18 jobs. In Bonifay, Florida, 93 applications for those 18 jobs. Now, over a year later, they're knocking on the door of about 60 employees.
Wow.
And they're a great manufacturer that offers quarterly bonuses, benefits, air conditioning. And I mean, talk about the diversity of the economy there. That's
for a small town, that's a big deal.
It's transformational.
Yep. That's great. We're going to run out of time, but we got one more thing we got to talk about that's real near and dear to your heart,
yes.
Which is the leadership. It's Leadership Northwest Florida.
Yes.
It's a great networking opportunity as you've described it. It is something that's a passion of your heart, and you are a graduate of Leadership Bay, mm-hmm. which is the program we do here in Bay County through the Chamber of Commerce. Carol Roberts is a part of that. You were telling me there's a larger group like Leadership Florida.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
This is a regional group, and it helps create networks in your region. Tell me a little bit about that and how a person could sign up for something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our inaugural class is in session right now. It's a 7-month program, and it's a competitive application process where anybody can apply. In fact, I've encouraged you to think about applying for class 2 or maybe class 3. We'll see. But literally anybody that is, if you want to know more about the region, the content we deliver is based on talent, assets, quality of place, business vitality, infrastructure, entrepreneurship, and innovation. So we do what we're calling deep dives, where we focus on the western part of the region, central part, the eastern part. So that would be over here, Bay, Gulf, and Franklin counties, and then the I-10 corridor. And it's all about exposing people to more than what you even thought was beyond our beautiful beaches. And, because going through a 7-month intensive program, you're going to build a very strong network with these other class members. I know I could tell you some fun stories about how I made some matchmaking happen in my Leadership Bay class, and now they're married and have 2 children. But those connections are lifelong. And so that's what Leadership Northwest Florida is about. It is about building a group of knowledgeable leaders that understand Northwest Florida, so that we can carry that flag, whether you're move on to maybe become a state representative, or, who knows, whatever role you have in the future. But we know more knowledgeable leaders are going to make us all better. And that's what it's all about.
That's awesome. I want to, we're kind of at that time in the show that we talk about how bright the future is. And I can see all over your face how excited you are about the future. I actually failed to mention something at the front end that I wanted to, because I don't think people people are learning your name, but those that are not in the circles that you run in wouldn't know. 2019, 2021, you were listed among the top 50 economic developers in North America by Consulting Connect. And then you joined an elite group of professionals in 2018 when you were certified as in the economic development side. And it looks like you're doing a phenomenal job. It looks like there's an upward trajectory with Florida's Great Northwest. I think one of the beautiful pieces to this is how we see all of this fitting together so that the rising tide collectively beyond the beaches, and I guess I need to say beyond Bay County, to the region, it really does look bright, and it's something to be excited about. Are you gonna enjoy the sun in the summer? Because spring's coming and summer's practically almost here, right?
Yeah,
You looking forward to it?
Well, and our logo is a sunshine. Florida's Great Northwest logo is literally a sun, so our future has to be bright.
Smart.
Yeah.
Listen, I love that. We're going to put in the show notes, we'll put the link to how people can participate.
Awesome.
In the program. And thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us for the Good News Bay podcast, where we're making Bay County brighter one conversation at a time. Please help us share this good news and change the conversation by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the podcast.